And one of the things that led me to even consider running for election was the gentleman I'm going to introduce right now. Leadership is all about passion. You know, you have to generate passion, and I would say right now that our organization, we're not in the best shape in the world. We need some dollars. We're a 34, 35-year-old grassroots organization, but you know, these are tough times with the immigration issues and with a lot of Latinos thinking the Republican Party's against them, and our guest is going to talk about that. But this is a leader that I think in the end we're going to be making a difference, especially with the convention here. So without further delay, let me introduce our special guest from Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Vargas. Daniel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Muy buenas noches, damas y caballeros.
Wow.
Thanks for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here in Minnesota. I'm really honored to be with you all tonight, and if you excuse me, I'm a little bit tired because I didn't get much sleep last night. I had a strange dream last night. I dreamt that Hillary was out campaigning and she got hit by Barack Obama's bus. Strange dream. She goes up to the pearly gates and she sees St. Peter there, and she says, "So St. Peter, can I get in?" He says, "I'll be right back. I have to go sign some papers." So she's standing there waiting. She looks around. She sees a bunch of clocks on the floor, and she sees every once in a while a few of the clocks would move forward 15 minutes. Didn't think much of it. There were millions of clocks everywhere. So St. Peter comes back and he says, "Okay, so now we're ready." She says, "Wait a second. Let me ask you about these clocks. What's with all these clocks?" He says, "Oh, each one of those clocks represents a man on Earth." And he says, "Every time a man commits adultery, the clock moves forward 15 minutes. She says, "Wow, that's interesting. Where's my husband's clock?" He says, "Oh, we've got that in God's office. He uses it as a ceiling fan." Just wanted to make you smile just a little bit, but I really am very honored and pleased to be with you here tonight in Minnesota. I'm very gratified at the fact that we've got leadership in Minnesota like Rick. Rick is such a really tremendous leader.
Hey, Rick!
And all of his leadership team, and all the members of the RNHA of Minnesota, and all of the Republican Party officials, the elected officials, people who care, people who understand how important it is to be able to make sure that we get the Hispanic vote.
That's right.
In 2008. So it's a tribute to you all, and that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about tonight. Any engineers in the audience? Any engineers? Okay, engineers. This is the data piece. You can take notes if you want. So we know the size of the Hispanic community. There's 45 million Hispanics in the United States, not counting the 4 million in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
That is more people than there are Canadians in Canada. If Hispanics in the United States were their own country in Latin America, they'd be the third largest and the richest. It's estimated that by the year 2050, there's going to be 102 million Hispanics in the United States. That's 25% of the population. We're 15% today. We make up 1 out of every 4 new people, residents in the United States, over the last 10 years. The growth is phenomenal. We've got to get this right. It's estimated that by the year 2010, Hispanic purchasing power is going to be over $1 trillion. This is real numbers, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to be able to figure out how to make this happen. So those are the facts, as they say. Now, there's good news and there's bad news. Which one do you want first?
The bad one.
The bad news.
Okay, let's do the bad news first. Bad news is that in spite of truly impressive gains that we made over the last several years, we went from 21% of the vote in 1996, climbing steadily, to the point where in 2004 with President Bush, we got to 44% of the vote, of the Hispanic vote. That's tremendous numbers. If you compare that to that was a 9-point gap, 44% to 53%. We were within striking distance of having a majority of the Hispanic vote in 2004. However, it went down in 2006 to 29% of the vote. We went from having a 9-point gap to having a 40-point gap. That's a 15-point drop in 2 years. The reality is, if we don't take that trend line and turn it around, there is mathematically no way that we can win. As the governor just mentioned, we've got to be able to figure out a way to be able to take that trend line and turn it around. We are the fastest growing demographic in the nation, and we cannot afford, as Republicans, as a political party, to keep that trend line going down. We've got to be able to figure out a way to turn it around.
Yeah.
Now, the good news. The good news is that we can turn that around. The Hispanic vote is gettable. It's eminently gettable. President Bush proved that. The Republican Party proved that over the last several years. What we've got to do is to be able to get back on message, get back to basics.